What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the latest episode of Real Estate Uncensored. As always, this is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. And we have a killer guest today, and we're talking about high performance habits and how habits and rituals and routines, in the most positive sense, are really your ticket to freedom and how to build those into your life. So not only do you have high performance, but you also have freedom in your life and freedom in your business. So we've got a bunch of fun stuff to get into. As always, killer guest with us today, Morgan Oakes. We'll bring him in a second. But first, the Junior Grandmaster himself. I believe is it the first episode of the new year or one of them? Welcome back, Greg McDaniel.
Yeah. I mean, it is the 7th. We're recording on the 7th today. So yeah, I do believe it is the first episode of 2019. No. Friday's episode is the first.
Was it? Okay. Yeah, I knew it sounded close, but not quite right. But it's close enough. It's first couple weeks of the new year. We're excited. 2019 is going to be a big year for all of us.
It's going to be a big year. Big year. Matt and I are going on our 4th year of the podcast. It's some variation. We don't know when our exact start date was, but variation of 4. We're blessed to have Morgan on the show. We were having such a good time in our pre-show, laughing, talking, just coming together over ideas and concepts and books. And I mean, I really dig what he was saying but in the pre-show, so I know you guys are going to dig it as well. If not, well, then you're just not a fan of ours. Leave the show. But if you are, stick around because this man's going to drop knowledge bombs. Morgan, welcome to the show, my friend. I'm super pumped to have you here.
Awesome. Greg, Matt, great to be here. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely, man. We're going to talk about habits and clarity and all sorts of things here in a second, but I want people to kind of understand a little bit about where you're coming from. So give us just the short version, who you are, where you are, what you do.
Yeah, at this point, I'm a chiropractor 2 days a week. I'm also a high performance coach. I'm developing some speaking. I have a podcast myself. And I think ultimately what I'm focused on is how do I help people level up their lives and whatever that might mean for them.
Mm-hmm. Love
That's
it.
Awesome. That's really, really cool. And it's very cool that you say that because the part you added on there, what it means to them. Not what your idea or concept is. It's like maybe someone wants to be the most awesome homemaker. Maybe someone wants to be the best CEO. Maybe someone wants to be the best desk maker. But I like that you draw that out of them and then feed them their reality and what they want to be. That's super cool. Will you coach me?
Absolutely. Let's get started. Exactly. Well, and it's interesting through my own personal growth. I found that my trainer didn't care about my relationship. My counselor didn't care about my business. My business coach didn't care about anything
else. Yeah.
And so finding a framework that can hold all of that and realize that we're like this whole being as opposed to like crush this and let everything fall apart. So yeah.
That's cool, man. Well, cool. Let's jump in the deep end of this thing. Let's do this, Matt. Would you stop stalling? Man.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. All right. So there's a question that caught my eye. It was kind of a comment/question. This was in the lead gen scripts and objections group. So Jeremy says, in the end, we are the sum of our habits. Daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. Better choose the habits lest they choose you. Which habits do you choose? So I want to turn that around on us real quick. Greg, let's start with you. What is one habit or what are some habits that you're looking at integrating this year, 2019, that you feel like is going to make a difference in your life?
One of which is my fitness. And so I've told the story several times. Actually, last night, my girl and I signed up. Well, she signed up. I have to do it today. Signed up for our second Spartan race that we're going to do this year. We're doing one in March, and then we're doing one in Hawaii together. So we're doing like the easy one and then the middle grade. And so for me, I'm very conscious. We figured out as of this recording, I have 9 weeks until March 17th to get to where I need to be. And so it motivated me. I was like, gosh, I go to the gym. I came back from her house. I'm like, dude, I got 9 weeks, man. I got to hustle. I got to grind because I have a goal. I have a carrot that I have to achieve. I'm not going to be the fat guy at the end of the race, huffing and puffing and nearly dying, bringing the medics out to revive me. I'm going to be the ripped dude who did it with ease and then achieved a goal in my life and then train harder for my next one. So I guess it's goal setting and goal obtaining is what I want. Also, I'm doing that in my business as well. I keep it so simple, dude. I have sticky notes right here. This is how simple my business is when it comes to reaffirming my stuff. I have to do 10 database calls. I mark them down. As you can see, I did one. And then I have my other one with SOC. I send 3 send out cards a day. That's it. It's just accountability, and it stares at me right in the face.
Love it.
So those are two things I'm doing.
And then, so for me, it would be slowing. I want to slow time down. I feel like 2018 went really, really fast. I was super, super focused on the business and kind of like just getting it over with, getting through some of the growth phase stuff. And now that I love where the business is at, I want to actually enjoy it. So I've got a place that's closer to the beach that I'm moving into in 2 weeks. And my mission for this year is to obviously keep growing the business and keep doing the things in the business that are the high performance habits that I know are already working, but mix in more habits that slow time down, like going to the beach, taking a little bit more time off so that I enjoy it more, enjoy the journey, right? Because I'm starting to realize that like this is it. Like just the experience of owning a business, it is what it is. We're always going to be mentally in it. And I want to enjoy the time. I want to look back on this time and not wish that I had enjoyed it more. I want to enjoy it while I'm in it. So Morgan, what about you? What's the habits you've got your eyes on?
Yeah. So part of it is I've been upgrading a lot of my systems. I'm getting ready to hire a new virtual assistant, a new local assistant, and just pull me out of the stuff that I'm not enjoying and just kind of upgrade my systems a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then my other one's physical fitness. So a couple of years ago, somebody mentioned half Ironman, and I'm like, yeah, that would really help me level up my business. Cool. And at the time, I'd never ridden a road bike. I'd never done any lap swimming, and I hated running. And I was like, oh yeah,
you're aware, but I think those are the three things in an Ironman. Yeah.
I was like, oh, half Ironman. I can do half of anything almost next year. So I planned one at the end of the year, and dude, everything went up. Productivity, I was just crushing it. Stress was so low, but I didn't like how tight it made my body. So for like the last year and a half, I've mostly been doing yoga and like stretch movement stuff, but it wasn't doing everything. So at the end of the year, I committed to a new trainer, and I got a workout partner that has been, doing 3 days a week for the last 20 years. So like, I know he's not going to miss. Yeah. So this morning I started with a new trainer that not only will get me stronger, but also help me kind of clear up some old injuries that are still lingering. Mm-hmm. And then I've got my regular Monday, Wednesday, Friday, good dude. So I'll get my social and I'll be getting those regular workouts.
That's awesome.
Kind of the places I'm focused.
It's weird, Morgan. I'm seeing the exact same things with me. I mean, as you guys can see, I literally just put up this whiteboard for accountability for business so I can see and track everything. But once you get into the gym, like your mind is clear. You feel energized. You're ready to tackle the day. Nothing's going to slow you down or stop you. And dude, today I did 60 burpees. First time ever. And I was afraid to do it, but I pushed myself like you pushed yourself. I was doing 45 last week. Now I'm at 60. I'll be at 70 next week. It's just that slow progression, but then you get to that end goal and you feel amazing when you look back at that journey. You're like, oh my gosh, that was so cool. Like, look what I accomplished. So Morgan, you're a coach. I will bet you dollars to donuts that when you sit down with people and you start your consultation with them, they have a self-defeating belief they can only achieve X, Y, and Z, when in reality they can do 100% more, 200%, 1,000% more than where they are, but it's a mental blockade.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and I think, if you would have given up on yourself at 68 burpees today, there's probably someplace later in the day where you'll also give up on yourself. So I think those victories in the gym help. And then also, dude, I feel like, when like a storm comes in and they pull out of the boats out of the water so they don't just get demolished on the beach, like, that's what working out does. When I am working out, my energy is vibrating so high that the waves are hitting below me and I don't have to deal with the stress and the like BS of business in the same way. So I think it serves on so many different levels.
Yeah, it really is. That's why Matt needs to start working out in the mornings.
That is absolutely not going to happen. No, I have the opposite schedule of Greg. My mornings are sacred and devoted to work, and then the afternoons are for working out. But all right, so let's talk about establishing the high performance habits. And once let's talk a little bit about maybe starting with identifying what habits we want to start incorporating. So we kind of talked about where we're at individually in our lives. Obviously, we're always tweaking. That this is a never-ending process. So this is something that you don't really start; you just keep on doing. So let's start by talking about how do you identify the habits that you feel like are going to have the biggest impact, and then we'll talk about a little bit how to incorporate them and get started.
Yeah, there's so many different tests and different things to take online that kind of help you take a broad look at your life. And I think a lot of times we might need something like that. So we go in and kind of ask what's working, what isn't working. And then sometimes it's that, what's that one thing that's going to help level up 3 categories, right? Like sometimes you can do things one at a time and you're just kind of like, it's like whack-a-mole. You push one down and then the other one pushes back up. But sometimes there's that like, you know, keystone thing that if you can do that, it'll level all of them up. And I think taking all of it into account, like how's your business? How's your health? How's your relationship? How's your mental, emotional, your spiritual, your physical? Like look at everything and then pick a couple that you can start leveling up and dive into that. You know, if it's a 21-day challenge, if it's picking like a Spartan race that has an end goal, and then just start moving into it and continue reassessing.
So I love this idea, but break it down for me a little bit. And for our listeners and watchers, you know, what would be something that someone could, you know, you hit one thing and you get 3 different results, positive results. Would it be working out, for example? Would it be being more spiritual? Would it be writing your goals? I mean, what does that look like?
Yeah, and I think you get more experience with this, right? The more that you like try and it doesn't do what you're hoping to. But for me, working out's one of them. If I'm experiencing too much stress, like let's say I'm not as productive as I would like to be, I'm not handling stress well, there, you know, that brings up emotional stuff. If I work out, I know that will take care of all of it. But let's say it's my productivity is getting reduced because I can't maintain focus and I'm getting really distracted really easily. Well, and I need to slow down time as well. So maybe meditation, you know, 20 minutes of meditation a day is going to be that like keystone that will help lift all of those up.
Yeah. You know, it's really funny. I take a product called Alpha Brain. It's a pill in the morning and it's completely organic. It's been triple blind test, the whole thing. And the pill, it gives me an energy boost and a clarity. I mean, it zones me in on what I'm doing. So it makes my mundane work fun. Yeah. But I also do energy release in the mornings. I do a meridian tapping with Brad Yates on YouTube. Yeah. And I've seen the most incredible things shift in my life that I could not have ever foreseen. Yeah. And I do my energy tapping and I release the negative stuff out. It's kind of like a sewer system. You got to flush the shit out to bring the new water in. Yeah. You got to keep cycling through your energy system. And it's not woo-woo crystals and, you know, incense, guys. This is just energetic stuff. This is just the way the human body works. Yeah. And I found amazing things that will have a ripple effect all the way down the line in my business, my personal life, things I can't even control that come into my life that are just amazing. Yeah. But I mean, did you have a breakthrough at one point where you're just like, oh my God, I see it now? I mean, or were you raised with this kind of mentality?
No, dude, so Matt and I have a very similar background of being kind of raised, you know, more Midwest, Nebraska, Wyoming area. So very different mindset out there. And I was just taught to like, oh, you're good at math and science. You should be a mechanical engineer. You know, and I like dirt bikes and things like that. So I started off there and I started doing it. I'm like, oh, this isn't my pinnacle. So I moved into chiropractic. I'm like, this isn't everything. I added in physical therapy. Oh, this isn't everything. Like I'm always seeing that place where I'm not fully getting everything I'm wanting out of it. So for me, it's been a process of like listening to that and then actually courageously stepping into whatever comes next. And I think, yeah, so I see you shaking your pen at me. And I think if we do that, we all know where our problem is. We all know where our place of growth is. We all know like what that thing is that wakes us up in the middle of the night. And usually that's a symptom. So if we can grab that and then find who's the resource, it's a business symptom. Maybe it's a business coach. It's a relationship symptom. Maybe it's a counselor, you know, it's a physical symptom. Get a trainer, get a healthcare professional.
See, the thing that you said there that's so profound is you step strongly into step strongly into, you know, this next part of life. You don't timidly walk into it. You're like, I'm going to make this my bitch. I'm going to conquer this thing. I'm scared to death right now because I don't know what I'm doing, but boom, you step into it and it's not as scary as you think it's going to be. Right? Yeah. It's a lot easier.
Well, and I think, you know, if you think about somebody on like a swing set, if they stop kicking their legs out, pretty soon it's not moving at all and it's tough to get going again. I think that's what happens in people's lives is we get 5% weaker every single day based on something that's not working well. Whereas we can rip off that Band-Aid, it might suck for a week, but we stop that like slow momentum drain and then we step into the next thing. And that like slow waiting for something to to change. I don't like it. So I'm usually looking for how can I quickly change this and move to the next place.
Here's a really funny thing. I am the least handy human being on God's green earth. I just bought my first tape measure, and I'm very proud of myself. And I'm not kidding. But I was really nervous about putting this whiteboard up. Now, it was literally just a bunch of sticky things on the back of it, and then having to go down to Home Depot. I had to measure this thing, put the sticky things on, and mount it. I was scared to do it myself. I've never mounted something before in my house, right? I went through practice runs. I watched YouTube videos. I found this Asian chick. I'm like, this chick can do it. I can do it. And so I mounted this thing. Her boyfriend helped her. But, I mean, I mounted this thing. And then I felt so good about myself.
I'm feeling very offended, Greg, right now. That's very genderist.
Yes.
Very, very chauvinistic. How dare you?
Well, she's whatever. But but my thing is that I was nervous to put this up today.
Okay.
But I bravely went into it. And I'm like, you know what? If I screw up, what am I going to do? Take it down, go get some more strips, and I'll go do it again. But let's give it a run. And now I feel really comfortable with how this looks. I feel good. I'm excited about it. And it's just by bravely stepping into this unknown territory. You know, it's very simple. It's a silly example. Don't get me wrong, but it's something I'd never done before.
Yeah.
Well, and you could ignore that for a year, or you could just be like, listen, I'm gonna go to Home Depot this morning and take care of it. Right.
Or I could have my sticky always fall on the floor, which I couldn't take that anymore. And I'm a clean person. That was driving me nuts. Holy mackerel.
Oh man. All right. So I love the question, just to get back to the conversation about the habits part. I love the question of, okay, what's the one habit that if I incorporated it would, not only handle multiple dimensions of my life, but maybe level up multiple levels, right? Yeah. So I love that question. So let's say you identify something, it's going to take some courage. It's going to, you've got some clarity, it's going to take some courage. Now let's talk about actually starting out, right? So any tips for kind of establishing a new high performance habit, any common pitfalls that you see people make that maybe they can avoid, especially as we come into the new year?
Yeah, I think, there's no reason to recreate the wheel for any of us at this point. And so I love modeling, mentoring, and coaching. Modeling, there's this dude down the street, he's healthy, good business, good relationship. What's he doing? And then maybe you just ask him and start modeling after what's working for him. Mentoring, you turn it into a one-to-one thing where, typically we hear about that more in business settings. And, I think that's a great resource as well. Or just getting a coach, this is the area of my life I'm needing support in. So that's one way to do it. I also think there's a ton of great 10-day challenges or 21-day challenges or a 1-month challenge, or you pick something like the Spartan race that's going to force an end date.
Yeah. Yes.
So sometimes it's, some people, and I think it's also knowing yourself. Some people need those little baby steps they can take. So it might be more behind the scenes. And some people like me, I like to jump off the cliff. If I schedule something, I know that I won't back down from it. So then I do everything necessary to make it happen. And so I think a combination of those frameworks, usually people will hear the thing and be like, oh, cool. I know that person that I can model, mentor, coach with. And I know the thing that I can either do baby steps towards or that I can sign up for that's going to force me to bridge that gap. So
yeah, I agree. And I'll throw this out there. I think the biggest mistake I would say people are going to make right now in this time frame, coming at the start of a new year, is jumping off of too many cliffs at once.
Yeah.
Right. And I think one of the things that my business coach has helped me with the most over the last 6 months is two things. Number one is focus, and focusing on the right things. Yeah. And then allowing yourself to cut a deal with yourself to put other things on the back burner, to commit all out 100% to the few or the one thing you're going to focus on. And I was just talking to my parents over the holiday break about this, about just, daily habits, eating, exercise, stuff like that. And of course, my dad's that guy that, either I'm going to go all in or I'm not going to do it at all. All right. But I'm like, well, how about we pick it? Depends on what you go all in on, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if it's all or nothing, but all is too much, then guess what happens? Nothing. Right. Yeah. So I think there's something to be said for cutting yourself a deal and giving yourself one cliff to jump off of, and then making small corrections and smaller habits in other areas, so that but not to take it easier on yourself, but just so you give yourself the space, the mental and emotional bandwidth, so to speak, to commit to that one big change and commit to it with everything you've got.
Yeah. So let's back it up. Let's say people have 5 things they want to do. They have 5 resolutions for the year, right?
Okay.
Morgan, I am your client. I come to you, say I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to achieve all of these. I want to start now. Mm-hmm. Would you say, okay, great? Would you say let's tackle the biggest and ugliest one first, or would you tackle the easiest one first and then progress through?
That's an excellent question.
Yeah, good question. And context is always important. So if we're mirroring this back to actually, like, I'm really about empowering people. So I hope when people hear this, they can apply it to their life and actually do something with it. So let's take it broad. What's going on in the person's personal life, what's going on in their business life, what's going on in their health, kind of looking at those 5 things based on that, you really assess it. And, and then you think about it like sports coaching. Is this a player that I need to he's a prima donna and I got to kind of lift him up and always be stroking his ego? Or is this a guy I need to kind of poke the deepest wound to get him fired up to get into motion and action? So again, I think that's different for people. And 5, if they're 5 big things, it's probably too much. One of my biggest takeaways from one of my most recent coaches was I was just always trying to do way too much. So I'd have all these things done at 60% completion. Yeah. And she's like, listen, no more than 3 a quarter. And if you don't finish them, you don't get to add new ones the next quarter. And then I'm so hungry for those next things that I'm going to get to add that I'm like, oh my God, I got to finish this thing because I want to add this other thing. And so that drove me in a certain way. So it's different person to person. But I think, one last thing to add, I think a shadow side of we hear so much about hustle these days, and it's a shadow side of American productivity. Yeah. It's that peak performance. I'm going to crush it for 3 weeks and then it'll be ruined and get nothing done for the next month. And this is more about lifestyle. It's what can I do that's sustainable for the next 5 years, the next decade, the next few decades? So I usually would prefer to dial it back, make it sustainable, and then add the next thing.
That's so true. I mean, I've told these stories multiple times. When I was swimming, I have a huge pool right down here, and I would go swimming, and I would go in, and instead of doing 100 laps, I would go down and do 10 or 20.
Yeah.
Then 30, then 40, then 50. Then you do 100, like doing the burpees at 60. Dude, a month ago, I did 10, and I wanted to commit homicide. I mean, I was like, I'm going to kill the person who invented this fucking thing. Oh my God. But I mean, now I'm at 60, and I'm like, dude, that wasn't that bad. I'll be at 120 in a month or two, or 200 in one workout, and I'll be like, man, this is cake.
Yeah.
I love the thing that you said. It's give yourself no more than 3 goals a quarter. That's 1 a month. I mean, that's a lot to work on. Seriously.
Yeah.
But if you don't finish it, you cannot add more. You have to complete the task. And it could be the most valuable gift you give them, because maybe that goal will take 90, 120, 365 days or more.
Yeah.
But to stay on task to achieve the original goal doesn't mean you fail by not doing it in 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. It just means it needs more time, needs more cultivation, it needs more refining.
Yeah. Well, and there's that huge synergy of success, right? Where when you got those burpees this morning, you're like, man, next time I'm going to get that next level. Oh man, I finished this project. Oh man, I upgraded this, whatever. That success just helps you accelerate into the next one. And I think we get beat down by having 10 things at 60%.
Yeah. It sucks because you feel like a consistent failure because it's never completion. And real estate agents as a whole, we have such a long gestation period from meeting a client, starting to work with the client, getting a contract, closing the contract. It's 30 days on a good day to a year or more with some leads. And so we get caught up in the quagmire of, starting, stopping. And then all of a sudden we have all these things that we never really accomplished because we didn't see the completion of it, which then, the whole pendulum here of you didn't see the success. So you said, well, screw this. I'm going to go over here and try something new.
Yeah.
The shiny object thing.
It's the cycle. It's a horrible, horrible downward cycle.
Or it could be a wonderful, wonderful uphill cycle or uptick cycle. If you completed each task.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times you don't have any feedback until you complete it, whether it is actually working.
Right.
You got to have that completion to know, is this spot on? Do I need to tweak it? Or is it I'm in the wrong direction? So
Yeah, that's one of the things I've been talking a lot with my coach as well, is we don't always know, or we think we know, but it's probably wrong, what ratio of effort yields the result that we want. Right. And so until we know the ratio, right? So for example, our good friend Jeff Cohn, who runs a real estate team in Nebraska, they know 150 calls of any kind to any types of lead produces a deal, period. End of story. Right. So that gives them the ability to, sit down with every agent and go, okay, you want to make 100K this year? Great. It's this many deals. It's this many calls. Are you willing to do that many calls? That's it. Right. Yeah. We know after 10 years of doing this that it's this many calls and it produces this deal. And we know what the average deal is. So we know exactly, if you want to make this much, we know exactly what the effort is. For those of us that are trying something new, or you're you're building a new business, or you're trying a new marketing strategy, you never know that up front. You have a theory about it, you never know. And that's the position that I'm in, right? Like, this is the agency that I run is not a predictable, I put exactly this many calls and out the other end pops this many clients. And most of us are in that world of not knowing. And so that's where we have to really, like you mentioned, the feedback, right? We have to be willing and look at it with both eyes open to go, I think that this is going to produce the result I want. But I need to do enough of it to know. And then I have to be able to adjust on the fly to go, okay, I need to put in more effort to get the result that I want. My numbers, my theory about the numbers was off, and now I need to adjust. And so the more that we have those, the milestones that we can pay attention to, the feedback that we get ongoing, the more we can know. And then we know exactly, okay, now I know what effort produces the result that I want. Then we can start setting realistic goals based on exactly knowing exactly what effort produces the results that we want. So that's something that's been super, super helpful to me, is just having somebody else from the outside be able to point things like that out to me. It makes such a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's nice. We want control ultimately, right? And it requires faith to know that those sales are going to come in. But it's really empowering to go, here's how many times you need to pick up the phone or send an email to make this happen. So where are the buttons and levers you can actually control in your business? And sometimes we can't see them for ourselves. So.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where outside counsel, a third party view, is so critical. And not your parent, not your spouse, not your brother or sister, someone who, like, they will have the nerve to say, look, man, you're really screwing up right here. Or dude, you're crushing it over here. Because sometimes you don't see your successes there, because you're just sitting there, you're just like, well, I guess I'm doing okay. I guess this is working. I don't know, man. Like, for me, I had a thing called Mornings with McDaniels, a show I did every day at 8:30 to 9, 30-minute little positive reinforcement, cool thing. Now, I got positive reinforcements from people I didn't even know were watching. I mean, like, random ass people. They loved it. Guess what I did? I stopped doing it when Facebook changed their algorithm, because I didn't get the positive reinforcement anymore, even though it was potentially helping hundreds, if not thousands, of people every day. So, that is a very powerful thing that people need to be aware of, that you need to, if people are coming to you and saying you are doing a good job in this arena, but you don't feel you're reaching your potential, that's fine. But understand you're doing better than the average human, and to continue honing your skill and continue down this path because you're making a positive impact.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, good. Well, that was positive.
Well, there's too much to go into. So let's talk about this. I've got one final question for you, Morgan. Before we get to that, what's the best place to connect with you?
Best place for me is drmorganoaks, that's OAKS.com. And my coaching, my speaking, my healing work is there. And if, I love having conversations with people, because it's that piece of empowering them. So if people are interested in, doing a 30-minute conversation, have them click over there and find it under the speaking. And, one thing I really found in my chiropractic practice is there's some things I'm really amazing at doing and helping people with. And what I've really also got amazing at is referring people out if somebody else is the actual resource for them. So, sometimes those conversations, that's all we ever do, and they get empowered. Sometimes I refer them out, and sometimes, it makes sense to do more than that. So
that's awesome. Well, you're doing the Lord's work, my friend. Keep it
Absolutely. Amen on a Monday.
Amen on a Monday.
All right. And then before we get to you, Greg,
What?
everybody check out Wise Hire. That's why I say that, because I'm going to mention this. So go to Wise Hire. Guys, if you're looking to hire, whether it's admin staff, whether it's a transaction coordinator, or if you're in the position to where you need to hire, let's say, a buyer's agent or replace yourself as a listing agent on your team, whatever the case is, go to wisehire.com. We've had the CEO on. We love their product. Greg, you just used it to hire your kind of sales staff for the radio show, the radio program, for people to go out and find sponsorships for them. So you can use it for other things besides real estate teams. But it really is phenomenal for that. It runs every position against the disc profile system and tells you exactly whether they're a good fit according to what position you're hiring for your real estate team. So it's phenomenal for any of you team leaders or anyone who wants to be. Go check them out at wisehire.com. And then, Greg, how do people connect with you?
First, I'm going to dovetail on that really quickly. When they did the ad for me, it was so simple, so easy, so effortless on my end. And then do the ad. They asked me where I wanted the ad. They wanted to ask me what I was looking for, and bam, they turned on the faucet, and I had 246 people that responded to this ad. I mean, I was blown away. And then sorting those people, super simple. All I went to the excellence or very goods, and those are the only people I called. And it was like a knife through butter, man. It was that simple. Just cutting away all the BS and getting right down to the meat. So, anyways, guys, for me, go to bookmcdaniel.com. Let's talk about EXP. Let's talk about our team. Let's talk about your team. Let's talk about how we can work together and help you get to that next level in your business. Get 3 different streams of income when you work with EXP and our team. Not to mention, you get free coaching, get free training, get all of our products, get connected to our people. If you wanted to be connected to Nick Sakis, one of our good friends here on the show, and the stuff that he's doing on social media, we can easily connect you with him. I mean, Gene Volpe, Aaron Wittenstein, all these guys and gals that we have our fingers, attached to over the last 4 years, we can connect you to. That sounded really gross and dirty.
Yeah,
as soon as I said it, I'm like, oh.
All the pies we have our fingers in, you have access to. All right, Greg, how do they get a call with you?
Guys, again, go to bookmcdaniel.com. Again, bookmcdaniel.com and book a 30-minute call with me, and let's get the party started. Right. Now, how do they rate and review the show?
Well, that's very easy. Apple Podcasts, or go to iTunes, leave us a rating and review, all that good stuff. Morgan, let's finish with this. We've talked a lot about me and Greg's, meditation, morning ritual, stuff like that on the show. So people are probably familiar with that already. What does your meditation routine look like? What are you doing right now that you're really enjoying and finding effective?
Yeah. So, for me, first thing when I'm waking up, it's, I'm diving into like 3 or 4 different books that I'm reading just a page of every morning. I've got my productivity planner, Brendan Burchard product, that I kind of sketch out and set intentions for the day. Usually after that, it's some type of workout. And then this is another high performance coaching principle I think a lot of people miss is if we just work all day, the last hour is not as productive as the first hour. Oh, yeah. And so really trying to set a timer every 50 minutes, get up, move, breathe, do some bouncing, do something physical so that I can stay productive throughout the day. And then trying to fit in that, 20-minute meditation somewhere in the day. As much as I can throughout the week, I'm trying to get 30 to 60 minutes just walking in nature, nothing, no conversation, no animals, no earbuds in. And then at the end of the night, really using that productivity planner to kind of wind down and look at my day and see how I showed up. So that's kind of the loose framework I use. And then
I love it. Yeah,
sprinkling other things in there as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. The walk thing, that's interesting you say that, because that's something I'm going to work on incorporating more this year. I've noticed that when I do it, I feel a lot better. And I mentioned the kind of slowing down time part. That really helps. And not taking a podcast with, I love podcasts, but maybe not taking the phone and the earbuds with you. It does make a huge difference. So I'm looking forward to being around the beach more, walking along the beach, walking along the bay, and just getting out in nature, because it makes a huge difference. So Matt, when you get out there and you're doing your walking, are you going to bring your 3 insulin sucking little troll babies? Yeah, bringing all the kids, all the magic on that walk.
Those little thunder thighs. I mean,
well, we're doing a public service, right? So anywhere we see potholes, I just let my kids roam around, and they stamp down the rest of the concrete around the pothole. So it just presses everything flat. Nice. All right, guys, that will do it. Once Greg starts talking about my imaginary kids, we know the show has gone off the rails and it's time to wrap things up. So we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thanks to Morgan for being here. I hope you guys go check him out. And, of course, check out Greg and book a call with him and all that good stuff. Morgan, thanks so much. We loved having you.
Yeah, awesome to be on the show. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Greg.
Morgan, you're awesome, my friend. Thank you so much. Maybe we'll have you back if Matt will let you. I want you back, but we have to see what Matt's will.
Good cop, bad cop. I love it.
All right, Greg.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks. Oh, okay, you got to pick a color.
I got to pick a color for the bow of the show. Yeah, let's go with a fluorescent lime green. I don't know why.
Okay, you're feeling like sugar cones. Okay, all right. Fluorescent. Would you say green? Fluorescent green.
Yeah, fluorescent green.
Okay, I can't say fluorescent. Just green. Nice bright green. But guys, hey, thanks for watching the show. Thanks for hanging out. If you guys like Morgan, reach out to him. He's obviously legit. He's really, really a cool dude. You'll like him when you get to have a personal conversation with him. Matt and I truly love you. We appreciate you. We could not do this show without you. So until next time, guys, peace out, ninjas. We're gone.